Hello and welcome to a very special Hotel Japan located untitled KKP episode where we talk about video games. And yeah, trust me, there's a lot of video games to go through. So I'm at Tokyo Game Show. This is I'm recording at the end of the second business day of Tokyo Game Show. I wanted to record on the first business day, but I got really tired, and I slept through the entire day after doing some, notes taking and write-ups and whatnot. So I figured, why not just give a whole show for just one day? I'm just gonna pepper through the games that I played and all the stuff I've seen. And with that, let's just start. Yes, let us go. This is gonna be off the cuff. I remember doing this on 2024, but for radio, so you don't actually see my face like this. So this is Bedhead. I actually just woke up from a short nap. I just needed some energy, just get on going, and hopefully people are in the hotel do not barge in and say shut the hell up, because I'm actually recording about like a wee late in the night and everything. And let's get right to it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I recorded this on 2024 in a different hotel, but it was on radio. So yeah, face and everything. So now get to see this is my humble abode for the next few days. I'm gonna go to Osaka in a couple of days, I think on Monday onwards. So different location and everything. If I decide to find time to record or whatever news that I missed out and whatnot. So we got some write-ups on KKP, the website. We also got some Twitter videos, stuff that I put on Instagram. TikTok, only a couple. I think I should upload a couple more of that maybe later on the Saturday and most likely Sunday, sometime on Sunday. So technically I still have to work on a Sunday because there's actually one or two presentations I do want to catch and see what kind of game do we get. Alright, on to the awesome stuff. So, I've actually played a ton of games, did some meetings here and there, usual kind of work, but you're here for the video games, so I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. So, we have, first from Capcom, I got a couple of Capcom games I played. Pragmata, that was really cool. It's the shooter where you play as a spaceman named Hugh who has to get out of this space station, this really nice, fancy looking, but empty and filled with killer robot space station, and helping him out is a little girl robot android named Diana. So what she can do is she sits on Hugh's shoulder, and when you aim your gun at any enemy, she can hack into them. So you gotta basically aim, and then you gotta do a hacking mini game that requires you to press the D-pad and the corresponding face button. So right would be circle, I'm using PlayStation controls, up would be triangle, left would be square, and down would be X. So you gotta press those two inputs to move your cursor around to hit the nodes, and then you hit the end node to complete the hacking. The more nodes you hit, the more weakened the enemies are and they expose your weak points. So it's always better to hit all of the boxes, check all the boxes, literally. Yeah, and Hugh himself has a bunch of guns he can collect, like a shotgun, space shotgun. He's got a net gun as well. Use it that actually traps enemies, but to deal damage you need either both the shotgun or the handgun that he has. Well, it's called something else, but it's basically a handgun. And when you don't actually reload, you actually have to wait until the ammo regenerates. So when you're actually out of bullets in your clip, you kind of have to run around and dash. Fortunately, Hugh himself can, jump, do a space jump, float in the air, and also dash in the air as well. And he does really cool things. So there are even some quick time events where I was fighting this really big boss. I think it's a Sector Lord or Sector Guard. Really big guy, and then whenever I got his hit points down thanks to hacking and shooting, and shooting his weak points, there'll be a QTE sequence. You gotta press one button whenever it pops up on the robot. He does a really cool up close attack at the weak spot, and yeah, you got overdrive attacks. They're probably called something else, but I just remember them that basically you charge up a meter, Diana does a cool hacking shockwave thing, and then deals a lot of damage and stuns the big boss. So that's your super basically. So running, gunning, hacking a lot. I mean, the more nodes, more successful hacks you do, I guess the meter builds up faster and faster. And you don't only get just that one node that, weakens defenses. You also get like nodes as you open up treasure chests and, caches. You get to make the enemies run slower or weaken their attacks. I'm sure there are many other debuffs you can put in the grid. I don't know whether the grid will actually get bigger or not during the hacking, but that remains to be seen. But from what I played, it is really, really good, really sweet, really plays really well, looks awesome. I like the interactions between Hugh and Diana, as short as they are, like a big daddy kind of guy to a kid. And then the banter and everything, very Hollywood-like, but I think Capcom just likes doing that sort of thing for their protagonists in these kind of games, and for a sci-fi genre kind of game, it's looking pretty sweet. It basically reminds me of an Odds game back in 2010, the Xbox HD era, and that's not a bad thing. I do like some of the shooters, but most of them are garbage, but some of them have really good levels, really good structure, gunplay, and feels really good. I'm getting all those awesome, positive odds shooter vibes in Pragmata. So there you have it. It's coming out on 2026 for PC and consoles. Capcom doesn't know when it's going to release it yet. Maybe it could be end of the year. I'm looking at this as more like a mid-year kind of game. I don't think it's a fiscal year game. It's too new. It's a new IP, and I guess if they want to make something sell, they have to stick to something familiar. Hence Resident Evil Requiem at, I guess, March, February, like close to the fiscal year, and then something new and fresh like Pragmata will be like at the third or fourth quarter of 2026. But yeah, I'm probably among all the Capcom games, this would be like on the top of my list, because again, it's something new. The little girl kind of reminds me of like what if Mega Man was a little girl, that sort of vibe thing with the cannon and all that, with the hacking and the shit. Yeah, speaking of which, I did play a bit of Resident Evil Requiem. I think it was a demo from Summer Games Fest. Or it could be a new one where basically they're given 20 minutes to get the hell out of whatever hospital you're in. You are Grace Ashcroft and you're stuck in a sort of ward kind of place being experimented on, I believe. And then there's this creature that will hunt you down as soon as you open a specific door. So it's up to you to go back to that place where the monster is, get a screwdriver, and then unscrew whatever fuse to get that fuse out while the room is dark, because the monster will chase you down when the room is dark. It's afraid of light, so you need to actually take that into account before you take out light sources and bring it to other spots. There is a gate that requires an extra fuse. You gotta take the fuse from one end of the room and it'll get dark, the monster will chase you, so you gotta figure out a way to hide, get away, and that's really spooky, really cool stuff. I like the darkness. I like the fact that you can switch between third and first person perspective, though first person is still the way to go if you want a more intense kind of feeling out of it. But I can understand if you want something less intense and you want to pull the camera back. So kind of like how Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 1 were back in the day. So, well, the remakes anyway. So, or Resident Evil 4, if you kind of prefer that kind of style, go ahead and do that. So really, really cool that they give you that option. And, I think it's a bit atypical, like it's sort of like a hidden room kind of horror thing with sort of a higher budget, but hopefully the full game might actually convince people that it's just more than just a scare fest, hiding fest and all that. Maybe it might have another character coming in. We'll see. Maybe they might have an announcement during TGS on the public days. Yeah, by the time this recording's out, I think they might announce maybe Leon, Candy coming in. Another cool Capcom game I want to get to, just a little, not the most smooth of a segue. Onimusha, I played a bit of that. It was just one stage in a very horrific village being attacked by zombies. So basically my character looks like Toshiro Mifune, the actor's likeness is portrayed. The estate actually gave Capcom permission to make the main character into his likeness, Musashi, I believe. He's got a sword, he fights really well. I like the fact that it plays, like the camera is not even set, it's kind of like a Sekiro third person style kind of camera. Pretty good difficulty overall for a demo. And the enemies you fight, they're not too fast, not too slow, just right. The boss fights for this particular demo is pretty challenging too. You fight this one inebriated poison samurai, just gotta avoid the DPS stuff he throws at. You gotta basically recognize his telltale attacks and whatnot, because Musashi himself, he kills demons, he gets a soul, sucks it with the L2, and then you get to, use your upgraded attacks to, unleash power and then suck souls again. Typical Onimusha. You can block, dodge, and you got a really cool parry. Basically, He parries an attack, the sword that slides, he controls the sliding of the sword onto the enemy blade, then just does a counter attack, a straight counter attack right there. Really nice swipe, good animations. Yeah, I can say it's a pretty meaty action game, and it's not as archaic feeling as Onimusha 1 and 2. As great as those classics are, I think this upgraded version of Onimusha, I think it's now 6, right, if we're counting Dawn of Dreams. Onimusha Way of the Blade, this is, it looks detailed, I like the aesthetic, kind of dark but not too bright, but very Resident Evil engine-ish powered, really cool way of movement and everything. And the English dub, got like people speaking the old English because it's feudal Japan, right? And really cool action bits here and there. I kind of like how the fighting is, the dodging, everything just feels right. I think it just needs to make, maybe show off more new bosses. I mean, there were trailers of previous bosses in past Onimusha trailers for this, so I think it's coming out 2026 as well. PC and consoles. Looks really, really good. Very, very promising for people who just want a Neo style game that's Capcom centric and a bit more Devil May Cry / or even just mimicking the old Onimusha games, but with the Dark Souls as aesthetic, if that that structure, if that makes sense, because I think this plays more like an Onimusha game with Dark Souls style updates rather than a Dark Souls game with Onimusha trappings. It is its own beast. It is its own beast. Looking forward to that. That's also 2026. Alright. Oh, and last Capcom game was Monster Hunter Stories 3. That is actually a Dark Twisted Reflections. You basically play the part 2 main characters, one knight and one kid, who have monsters as the monsties, and then they team up to find eggs so that they can raise them as rangers and then let them out in the wild while fighting feral monsters. So we've got, I don't know what the hell the names of the monsters are. We fight velociraptors as basically as the stooges, like the grunts. You gotta fight them to level up. Let's see, you fight the one dragon, the furry rat dragon with the big pouch, the bat thing with the pouch that goes big, so you gotta use a piercing attack to make sure it deflates. And then you fight a frog with a long tongue. That's also a dragon tongue frog thing. I fucking don't know what these these motherfuckers are, but yeah, you got crystals coming off from the backs. Don't hit the crystals in the back, otherwise they get agitated and counter attack. But you gotta keep attacking them elsewhere until they start having crystals on their hands. That's when you start attacking the back, so that they can actually deal less damage when you actually damage your back. So you got the damage system like in Monster Hunter games, but then now it's done in turn-based style, and you gotta also figure out whether it's a blue, red, or a green attack, a technique, speed, power. It's like a weapon triangle, so that whenever a monster locks into you, you gotta find the attack that actually counters whatever they have next. So you gotta keep fighting these bosses and whatnot to know what attacks they pull out, whether it's speed, technique, or power. Played the demo about 15 minutes or so. Really, really cool graphics and everything. I think what I like about this is that it's all out. This third game is coming out for all platforms. I played the second game. It's okay. Runs like shit because I was playing the Nintendo Switch version. And this is a huge improvement debut-wise. So the demo also showed the game running at 60 frames per second or even faster. And good quality graphics. It's like cel-shaded-ish, It's a colorful Monster Hunter world, so it doesn't need to be super detailed. Like, this game should run on PCs from last year if it comes out next year. So at the very least, it's optimized and out of Switch jail. So if you want the JRPG Monster Hunter turn-based fix, I could not recommend anything else better. Hopefully the game story is a bit more epic. Hopefully, we'll see. Because the last two games' tales are just very, very generic. Fun, well acted, well voiced, but just, something you can see coming a mile away. That sort of kind of style of storytelling.